How's it going, metalheads? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be my first full length in a while. Sorry I've been lacking on the uploads lately. I've been pretty busy. School year's finishing up, so hopefully this summer I will get back to uploading regularly and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about something pretty cool. It's a topic that I've covered a lot, but not fully. I've just kind of mentioned it offhandedly. So we're going to put it to bed today, cover it fully, and hopefully you guys will, not get tired of me talking about it now. So yeah, let's get started. Today's topic is Malignant Altar. If you aren't aware, Malignant Altar was a short-lived death metal band from Houston, Texas. They were around for a period of 4 years, from 2018 to 2022. So yeah. They were a pretty cool band, albeit they didn't have a lot of releases. Sorry, I'm just looking at their page real quick because I forget the members' names. All right, so on bass they had Matt, on guitars they had Joshua and Bo, on drums they had Dauber, and on vocals they had Wilson. The members play in a lot of other bands. I just shouted out one of them. 3 of the members, Matt, Joshua, and Dauber, all play in a death grind band, also from Houston, called Terror Corpse. They're pretty awesome. You should go check them out. Matt and Dauber play in Necrofire. Joshua and Matt play in Church of Disgust, which are also cool bands. And then Bo and Dauber, one of the guitarists and the drummer, are both members of Insect Warfare, or ex-members, I should say, because Insect Warfare has broken up. They put out one album. It's called World Extermination. It's pretty revered. It's pretty legendary in the grindcore circles. So that was a cool ex-bands that they've all been a part of, or current bands they've been a part of. But yeah, they formed in 2018 in Houston. And in 2019, they put out 2 demos, one of which was entitled Ceremonial Decapitator, and the other of which was titled Retribution of Jealous Gods. And those, I believe both, let me look real quick. Okay, so Ceremonial Decapitator was put out independent. There was 25 copies put out on cassette. And then Retribution of Jealous Gods apparently was also released as an independent, and there's 200 copies on cassette, which I didn't know. So I believe Maggot Stomp re-released some of it. But then when they signed to Dark Descent Records, which is a record label based here in Colorado Springs, I'm in Denver, but here in Colorado at least, they put them both together and they put them onto a CD, which I have. Here, I'll make sure you guys can see it a little bit better. It has both on it. So in January 2019, they put out Ceremonial Decapitator, like I said, and that one also includes the track Procreation of the Wicked, which is a Celtic Frost cover, so there's 2 songs on that one. And then in March 2019, I said they put out Retribution of Jealous Gods, which has the title track, Spectral Revulsion, and Nephilim Burial. So yeah, this is a pretty good CD. I like it. I like how they included both demos on it. And like I said, that was Dark Descent Records who put out that one. So yeah, that was in 2019. And then in 2021, they put out their debut and only full-length album. It was entitled Realms of Exquisite Morbidity. Here it is on CD. Yeah, this one is a great album. It's probably my most spun album, to be honest, in my collection. So yeah. You won't find any tracks from the demo except for track 5, which is Ceremonial Decapitator, which is off the first demo. So track 1 is Channeling Impure Apparitions. That's a great one. It starts out with this kind of evil sounding bells, synth kind of thing. So it's a great intro track. Track number 2 is entitled Usurping the Pantheon Crown, which is also great. Track number 3 is called Belial Rebirth, Metempsychosis, which is in parentheses. By the way, if anybody has an idea why bands do that, put it in the comments, because I still don't know what the parentheses does. It's kind of like they have 2 titles. But anyway, track number 4 is the title track, Realms of Exquisite Morbidity. It's an instrumental. There's not really any music to it. It's more just ambient sounds. But it's kind of a nice interlude. It pairs well with the intro to the first track, Channeling Impure Apparitions, as I mentioned. So yeah, it's a nice little interlude. I think it pairs well. Track number 5, as I said, is Ceremonial Decapitator. Sorry, English. And the closer track, track number 6, is Rite of Krasu, which is a great album closer. And again, this was also released by Dark Descent Records here in Colorado Springs. So yeah, Great album, probably one of my favorite death metal albums. It's more death doom, but I know. death metal's subjective, but I like it a lot. So yeah, that was their second release, and then their third and final release in 2022, which was the year they broke up, was a split with a Russian death doom band called Gosudar. Here it is on CD. So yeah, they each had 2 songs on this release. Gosudar had the first 2, which is called Mortified Transformation and Domination of Irreality. Those are pretty long songs. I think the first one clocks in about 10 minutes, and then the next one is about 6 or 7. And then Malignant Altar had the next 2, Malfeasance, and then in parentheses, Inexorable Amenity. Again, if you have any idea why they would do that, please let me know, because I have no idea what the parentheses are for song titles. And then the last track, which is also Malignant Altar, is The Awakening of the Majestic Darkness, which is an Imprecation cover. Imprecation is another Houston death metal band. They're pretty cool. You should go check them out. But anyway, yeah, so this is their last release. It was put out by Rotted Life. There may also have been a release of it by Meisako Unoho Records, which was also a small record label, because they had a license for merch and stuff, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, anyway, this was their final release. The copy that I got also came with this cool sticker. So yeah, all 3 of those releases are pretty fun to listen to. If you haven't checked any of them out yet, I would recommend it. So anyway, as you might expect from a band that's, split up, aren't around anymore, you can't really find Malignant Altar merch anymore, as evidenced by the fact that they wouldn't really print it since they're split up. I have gotten my hands on a little bit, and I'm working on finding more. I probably should have gotten into the game a little bit earlier, because I didn't start collecting it until after they were split up. But anyway, I have 1 shirt so far. I've got a few more that I'm trying to get my hands on. I got 1 in the mail right now. But anyway, and I'll show you guys when it comes. But anyway, I have this one. It's one of my favorite band shirts. I wear it a lot. I really like the design. It's got the skulls on the axe handles and stuff. Yeah, this was from Pyrepress Merch, which did their official merch. They did a lot of it. This design is called Utopia Forged from Suffering. And they had a long sleeve of this too, which had like big candles. As you can see, the skull on the bottom is kind of like a candle, had big skull candles on the sleeves. So that was pretty cool. They had an album cover t-shirt of the album Rumbles Morbidity that had the cover and the logo on the front, and then it had this picture of the band on the back and another logo. The picture is actually in this booklet. I can show you it. 1 second. If I can get the booklet out, I'll show you. I don't know why these are always so finicky. Come on, there we go. This picture right here, it's pretty dark, but yeah, that's the picture on the back of those shirts. The album shirt, they had a long sleeve version of that, which the long sleeve had the album title and then the, like 3 logos down the side. It was 4-sided, which is pretty cool. I believe they had some other designs as well. I know they had a hoodie for the album, which had the logo on the front and then the album art on the back. They had a hat, which had the logo on the front, and then it said the album title on the back. They had 1 shirt that was a ceremonial decapitator design. It had like the artwork for ceremonial decapitator on the front, and then it said Low Tune Death on the back, and it had like a picture of the band live, I think. That was a long sleeve version, and they had one called Eternal Rain. Let me look. I don't remember what it said on the back of that one, but it had just some artwork on the front, and then on the back of that it said New Life Forms Beneath the Stars, the Ageless Eternal Rain, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and and then sold out, which you can't even find on the website anymore, was an Arachnid t-shirt. It was design, had like, the logo and then design on the front, and then on the back is more artwork, and it says, trying to remember what it says on the back here. Let me look it up. I just ordered one that I found online, so my fault for not remembering, but Spell Guarded Gateways of Alien Majesty, that's what it says on the back. So yeah, it's pretty cool. My fault for not remembering that. And then they also had another hat that's also sold out. You can't even find it anymore, and it says the logo on the front, and then Cacophony of Hissing Tongues is what it says on the back. So that's pretty cool. That was all the stuff I think Pyrepress ever did with them. There was more than just Pyrepress, though. As I talked about, Meisako Unoho Records had a Realms of Exquisite Morbidity cover design shirt, but the logo, Malignant Altar logo, is green. I think you can still get that in a small, but I might be mistaken. Oh, and everything Pirate Press is sold out except for the long sleeve of the album, and you can only get that in 3XL. So if that's your size, go pick it up. I think there's like 3 shirts left, but other than that, it's all sold out. Dark Descent Records, which is the record label that put out their demos, re-released, and then also their album, had a record shirt for the album, and then also these pins, these logo pins. They're pretty cool. They were official for the band through their label. I ended up with 2 of them. They're now sold out as well. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky to have these ones. Band merch is fun because once the underground really takes to something, I feel like even more than, you know, famous bands, because there's more copies printed, but when the underground really likes a band, like, merch will sell out like that. So pretty sure that's what happened to Malignant Altar. There was a few shirts that I think just the band released. I've been looking on T-Shirt Slayer. I've scoured the internet. When I say that, I mean I really have looked into every corner of the internet for Malignant Altar merch. They had a brown T-shirt design that said Subterranean Liturgy on it, and I messaged the person on T-Shirt Slayer who has that. They said they bought it at their Maryland Death Fest performance in 2022. They did have one Maryland Death Fest performance, which was the year they split up. They also had a Channeling Impure Apparitions long sleeve. It said that on the back, and then it had some artwork and stuff. It was also 4-sided. That was on the band's Bandcamp for like maybe a little bit before they, blew up and had their own merch stuff. The Other Records, which is a now deceased record label, rest in pieces, they had a Ceremonial Decapitator patch, which was out of 33 copies. I'm trying to get that one. It's sold out everywhere, so I'm trying to trade somebody for it. But they had a Retribution of Jealous Gods patch, which you can't find anywhere. They had a logo button. If you don't know buttons versus pins, buttons are the circle ones with like the stick in the back, and then pins have just the straight up on the back, and they're usually metal. But anyway, they had a white and black logo button designs, which are also both gone. You can't find those anywhere. One of the patches I have in Malignant Altar is another Ceremonial Decapitator patch. This one's from Rapture Textiles. Pretty sure you can still find that one. I might be mistaken, but when I bought it, you can still find it. Pull the Plug patches did one. They're a pretty famous, big patch place. They had a Realms Exquisite Morbidity circle patch, and they had a tan border and a black border. That's sold out. You can only get it on like third-party sellers, like T-Shirt Slayer, stuff like that. There's a guy on Instagram who has a distro. He's called Patches from the Shadow Realm. He did a Realms Exquisite Morbidity rectangle design. I ended up with both colors, so thanks to him, I got out of T-Shirt Slayer. Pretty cool dude. Pretty fast shipping time, stuff like that. They're out of 40 on the back. I believe Armed with Hammers Productions, which are out of Israel. If you know them, they also sell his design. So yeah. Then Necroharmonic, which is like a record label / merch store type thing, had a flag. They had a white and a black logo flag. Yeah, and those are both sold out as well. And then there's a few that I don't know where they're from. They had a shirt that said Nightmare Conception. It was the only white design, and it had the logo, and then it had some art, and it said Nightmare Conception on the back. I think it also said Low Tune Death, just like the other one, and that was in a long sleeve and a t-shirt. There's a logo t-shirt. I found one floating around in extra large I might pick up. It's just the logo. That's on the back. I don't know where that one's from. The Other Records also put out a Retribution of Jealous Gods t-shirt, which had the cover on it. And then there's a red logo patch I've seen on the internet, which I don't know where it's from. I forgot to mention, I told you how Maggot Stomp released their demos. I think they released their demos afterwards. You might want to check me on that. Like, re-released them before Dark Descent did in the last. But anyway, Maggot Stomp had one where it had the Malignant Altar logo on the front and then Maggot Stomp on the back, because they like to put their stuff on shirts. And then they had a Retribution of Jealous Gods long sleeve, which had the cover and then Maggot Stomp and stuff. So yeah, that's all the merch designs I could find online. And most of it sold out, like I said. So if you want to find some, you're going to have to really, really look. But yeah, I know that Malignant Altar, was a pretty small band, and especially at the time of their breaking up. But they had a really big impact on me as a, metalhead who really didn't know much about a lot of genres yet. When I heard the first track to the album, Realms of Exquisite Morbidity, the Channeling Impure Apparitions track, the intro was pretty cool, and I was intrigued, and then it really just hit me. I had no idea what Death Doom even was before I listened to that album. So yeah, it really opened my, worldview of how death metal could work. I didn't know it could be that slow and chuggy. I thought death metal, had to be kind of fast, and, I had more of a death and roll, if you know what that is. It's like, rock and roll vibe, but death metal. That was really my only view of. I listened to a lot of 6 Feet Under going into death metal, so I really only listened to death and roll. But yeah, they're one of my favorite bands to this day. I'm really excited to have this merch, and I'll keep giving you guys merch updates as I do unboxings and stuff. If I get more, that'll be about it. Thanks for all the support lately. I'll get back on uploads, regular shout outs and stuff like that. So yeah, hope you're all doing well. Have a nice day. See ya.